Okay, let's go ahead and get started on this there, folks. Sorry I'm a few minutes late, but typically this would be a 2 p.m. PST YouTube stream. I'm your host, Jim, but I'm coming at you at around 2:15. So, so apologies on the late arrival, but we're back. We got, I mean, I keep on adding stuff into my stream. It feels like a daily basis. Um, we got um, Pega certification to study, which is obviously this video. And if you're watching this live on stream, then welcome. If you're watching this as a YouTube video in their own video playlist, then thank you for stepping on by. Hopefully you like it. Hopefully you help me out with the YouTube algorithm because that would be fantastic. Um, We have some Unreal Engine studying after this because Blackheart and I are kind of tired of waiting around for others to potentially give us a job. So we're going to see about, trying to make something. So um, maybe we can make something, support ourselves in some way. Yeah, yeah. Moving on. We got some video uploads to do, which reminds me, I still need. Oh, I could handle that later. Um, I had like 2 more videos to upload last night, but I got too late, so um, I'll handle that a little bit later. Um, and then last but not least, later on tonight, we got Honkai Star Rail for the gaming session. So if any of those sounds interesting, then either, you can watch them later on YouTube as they come on out, or you can join me on stream and you can join me during those time slots. Okay. I try to stay within those time slots as much as I can. 2 to 3 for the Pega certification, 3 to 4 for the new Unreal Engine. Um, 4 to 5 for uploads, and then 5 and beyond um, for gaming. So hopefully you'll join me for any one of those. Um, but so let's get into the Pega certification study, shall we? So who am I? Well, I'm currently an unemployed software developer whose last job was in the Pega environment. Um, working as a contractor. That contract ended, and well, I'm back to unemployment. So, one of the reasons, probably one of the major reasons behind it is the fact that I did not continue trying to get my certification at the end of the job, and that falls on me. However, I do kind of put a little bit of the blame on my past employer, who had an authorized training partner helping the team out. But the majority of us pretty much were of the same opinion that he was not a great instructor at all. To the point where the majority of us went for self-study, and um, even the authorized training partner's coworkers knew that he was making mistakes. Um, we tried asking for us to be placed back into another cycle of training so that we could study Pega again with someone else. Um, but that didn't happen, so but it kind of fell on my shoulders to try to continue with that self-study to try to get the certification, and well, I had difficulties with that. You know, I needed, you know, um, I like when I can get a mentor to help me out. Especially with you know potentially tough topics. and seeing that, I didn't know Pega at the time, um, and the fact that, as you have seen, I've had some issues with the academy and their instructions at times. Um, so the fact that, I'm having problems with even the Pega Academy itself shows you that, um, sometimes you need a mentor to try to, you know, um, figure out what Pega Academy is actually saying and, get a clear um, understanding of what's going on. So, hopefully you would get that if you took the instructor-led training, which I am not, by the way. Okay, I'm not an instructor and I'm not an authorized training partner, so don't consider that as such. Okay. If you do go for the instructor-led training, then hopefully that they have someone within Pega Academy that will teach you everything that you need to know about Pega, so that you can pass your certification with no problems whatsoever. But it, from what I understand, it's like a 2-week course, and it's pretty expensive in my opinion. $5,000 is not cheap. Um, especially if you're like on minimum wage income. Okay, you know, it's not an easy um, price to you know to dole out, right? So you're gonna want to be on top of your game there every second. You know, um, recording the video or something, or audio, or taking notes, and ask as many questions as you can. Okay. When I took the certification test, I was not prepared for it. I was in self-study by that point in time. They forced me to do it anyway. And when I took the certification, they did not only 8.6 questions, but they did questions that involved Pega 7 as well. Okay. They did old keywords that they changed later. And no one really, no one really instructed us on that. Definitely not our authorized training partner. So it's quite an unfortunate circumstance, um, but hey, I'm still working towards getting my system architect certification. I may try for the business architect, but I have no real interest in doing this whatsoever. So I may take it just so that I can maybe communicate better with the business architect or something like that. It doesn't hurt. Um, but it's not something that I would want to be in the position of. Okay. Talking about business architect, we are done with it. Okay. We've covered the entire mission for business architect, the 2 missions and 2 modules. So if you're here wondering, hey, are you covering business architect? It's done. Don't need to worry about that anymore. Okay. Those are past videos. So if you are watching this either live, or this is the first video you've come to and you're looking for a business architect, it's all in the playlist. So go to the playlist, check out through all the videos, look through the 2 missions and 2 modules, and there you go. I will say though, these 2 modules, they cover the Pega Express delivery. So this Pega Express delivery is 12% of the certification process for the business architect. So make sure that you know everything, and everything that you can about the Pega Express delivery. Go through this mission here, because I don't feel like these 2 modules covers enough, so that you are prepared for the certification test. So, but we're continuing on with the system architect. We're currently in a module with 4 different topics. So, and we got through about half of them yesterday. So let's cover the pyWorkPage today. All right, got about 30 minutes, so um, we'll see how much I can do with this. Okay, the pyWorkPage. Viewing case data on the clipboard. Okay. When you debug case behavior, you often need to view the case data that is in memory on the clipboard. Viewing the data on the clipboard can help you identify the cause of the issue. For example, a data transform that populates the employee full name field returns an unexpected result. You review the contents of the clipboard to determine one of the input fields, employee first name and employee last name, contains an unexpected value. Employee first name is set to Ned and employee last name is set to green bar as expected. However, employee first name returns the value of NG, which is the first two characters of the employee email field. This result is not expected, so your next debugging step is to examine the data transform. pyWorkPage stores data that is generated during the case creation and processing. pyWorkPage is a specific page on the clipboard and stores data such as the case creation date or the case ID. Embedded pages within pyWorkPage stores sets of the case data as defined by the data type. For example, if a case uses a data type named customer, then customer is an embedded page within pyWorkPage. Pega platform writes all the properties that describe the customer data type, such as contact name, to the embedded page. So hopefully everybody kind of understands this a little bit. So whenever you're going through a case type, okay, whatever it might be, just go through all those challenges that you've gone through before. Every single last one of those challenges, pyWorkPage contains our contains the work, the when you did the save and run, it goes through the case type. pyWorkPage is the one that holds the information for that case type. Okay, so if you want to find out, what's going on um, with the data that you're putting in there, and this is what you need to look at in order to check out what's being stored, um, what um, what are the values at a specific point in time during that clipboard. You can stop you can stop it at or you can check the clipboard during various stages of the case type. Okay, so that you can kind of see you know um, like the customer data. Here's the employee first name, here's the employee last name. You maybe go to the next step and you see that the employee first name got changed. So now you know why, now you can understand like, hey, there's something going on between uh, step number 2 and step number 3. There's something going on between that's changing the employee first name to the email address somewhere in there. So you need to kind of look at that step specifically to figure out what happened. So so pyWorkPage kind of helps you out with that. Okay. So the clipboard page of pyWorkPage, the customer um, the customer page data type. You have the city and state, the company contact, the company name, the PX object class, the label. So and probably various other information that they're not really showing right at this moment in time, with like you know, they've already talked about the employee first name and employee last name. Why aren't they showing that in there? But whatever. We move on. When you open a child case, the clipboard also contains the page pyWorkCover. pyWorkCover contains the case data for the parent case. The page enables you to copy data between the parent case and the child case and confirm that any data mapped from the parent case to the child case is correct. So, um, so pyWorkPage is for like that current case type. Okay. So whenever you switch over to, say, a child case, that now controls the pyWorkPage. Okay. And the parent from where you came from becomes the pyWorkCover. Okay. So basically, I guess you might say that the pyWorkPage transfers all of its information to pyWorkCover if, of course, you open up the child case. So hopefully that helps you out. So, or maybe or maybe when pyWorkPage is um, created, it also creates the pyWorkCover with the same information at the same time. I don't know. Maybe it doesn't necessarily need to. Um, Maybe it will look at the current case type and check to see, is there a need for a child case? Does the parent invoke a child? Okay. If it doesn't, then there's no need for a pyWorkCover, so it just doesn't create one. Okay. Or, maybe it automatically does for some reason, even though it shouldn't really need to. I don't know what Pega does in the background. Okay. So I don't know, you know, does it create a pyWorkCover even if there is no child case? I don't know. I don't know what happens in the background. This is one of those times where it's um, I'm not an expert in Pega, so I don't know all the little nitty-gritty details that they might have done in the background with this program. Okay, it might be that that particular question might be answered in the senior. Who knows? I don't really know. Um, maybe someone like um, like the instructor-based training, maybe they'll be able to answer that question. I don't know. If anybody out there, like a manager, a veteran of Pega, an employee of Pega Academy, if you're seeing my my question about that, then let me know. I would love to know what kind of happens in the background on that. So, okay, check your knowledge with the following interaction. Which two statements about pyWorkPage are correct? pyWorkCover contains the case data for the child case. I mean, sure, but I mean that has nothing to do with pyWorkPage. So why cover pyWorkCover when the topic is pyWorkPage? Um, but I mean, sure. Oh wait, no, this is um, pyWorkCover contains the case data for the parent case, not the child case. I almost messed up there. So, hold on a second. Just got a text message. 1 second. All right, no worries. So, definitely not the correct. It's case data for the parent case, not the child case. Um, the wording is a little off there, so that's why I was like going, oh yeah, that should be perfectly fine, but no, it's not. So um, that's one of the things that they might catch you on in the certification. So be careful with that. pyWorkPage stores data that is generated during case creation and processing. I mean, kind of, yes. When referencing pyWorkPage, you must provide the relevant class. Um, I mean, in a sense, yes, I guess, but embedded pages within pyWorkPage store and organize sets of case data as defined by a data transform. Oh, the wording here. Um, are the embedded pages only defined by a data transform? Or do the embedded pages have other objects that they can be defined from? Personally, you shouldn't necessarily be referencing the pyWorkPage at all. This is more for a debug than anything else. Um, you shouldn't necessarily be needing to use it at all. So, um, let's check. Well, embedded pages within pyWorkPage store and organize sets of case data as defined by data type. See, they catch you with the slight change in wording, so you have to be very precise. They did this on the certification exam there, folks. Okay. One change of a word and um, you look at it and when you're trying to process it and with the English language, sometimes your mind plays tricks on you and goes, "Oh yeah, that should be right." When in fact, no, it's not. And once again, this could be a completely wrong answer on the certification exam. So, know what you're looking at. Okay, this is reason why the pyWorkPage can be a challenging topic. So, uh, okay, so this one is not correct. This one is not correct. So it has to be these two. So pyWorkPage stores data is generated during case creation and processing. Yes. Um, most specifically processing. But, case creation, sure. You know, um, for example, if you're passing data from the parent to the child, the pyWorkPage is now, the child case type, right? So, case creation, you're passing information from the parent to the child. So there you go. Okay, if the report filter uses the username property from pyWorkPage, you must tell the report the pyWorkPage class, for example, I call pen work and quote, and then the class allows Pega platform to reference the username property, and the report filter functions as intended. Otherwise, Pega platform assumes the username is part of the data type rather than the case, and the filter does not work correctly. Well, here's here's where I'm that one of the reasons why I'm not really comfortable with this is the fact that um you would think that you'd want to try to have, um, variable names that actually store, you know, all the data that you are needing to store in some fashion or another. Okay, trying to use um, the API's own variables to try to pull the necessary information out of seems like it's, I don't know. I mean, you're using what's there to help you out in making the product, but at the same time, it's um, I don't know. It feels as though um, you I could see it as something that could potentially lead to mistakes happening. If someone's so comfortable in using and referencing the pyWorkPage over and over and over again, then sure they might eventually get used to it and know what they're doing, but at the same time it could lead to misuse as well. And, you know, the providing the relevant class might not even work anymore. Like maybe the pyWorkPage gets garbage collected and the information um, there is no longer relevant. Maybe it's completely gone. Um, if you're trying to use a pyWorkPage for an old um, case file or something along those lines, and that case, all the information contained within it has pretty much gone. It's all just pretty much database information now. Then, you know, you could potentially be making a mistake by trying to reference the pyWorkPage for that old case file. I'm just saying, um, you know, now okay, you know, correct me if I'm wrong. Okay. I just feel as though trying to reference pyWorkPage isn't um wouldn't be a um wouldn't necessarily be like the recommended way of referencing the information contained within there. Okay, if you get my point. Um, so um, so I don't know. If if you've worked on Pega for a long time or something like that, please feel free to correct me on that. Okay. Like I said, I'm not an expert on this, so I don't know 100% about this. Okay. It just feels, I don't know. I'm not quite sure what the word is for this, but um, it's like, hey, sure, you can use pointers to, point at, spots in memory, and you can surely get information, like a C++ pointer operation to look at a space in memory and get the information that way. You're more than welcome to do that, okay? By referencing that specific, you know, memory location. Um, you can do that. But wouldn't you want to just kind of create your own variable case to hold on to that information anyway? I mean, there's obviously there's multiple ways of handling um, storing your information and all that. So this just gives me like pointer vibes that you can seriously screw up. That's all. Um, not to say that you can't use pointers. Using pointers is fine. You know, it can be really fast and very powerful, but you have to be very careful with using them, or you're gonna basically shoot yourself in the foot. See this one. Referencing pyWorkPage in other rules. Each page in the clipboard is an instance of a specific class, including pyWorkPage. When you configure a rule that references a page such as pyWorkPage, you indicate the class of the referenced page. Indicating the class of the page allows Pega platform to resolve references to rules within that class, such as properties. When you attempt to save a rule that contains references to other rules, Pega platform attempts to resolve those references. If a rule contains one or more unresolved references, Pega platform cancels the save operation and informs you of the unresolved references. To indicate the class of the page used by a rule, use the Pages and Classes tab of the rule to list the reference page and the class of that page. The following example shows an entry on the Pages and Class tab of rule to identify the class of pyWorkPage. Again, why not just have a page that is like, customer that you can reference? Why are you referencing pyWorkPage? That's that's all. I don't, you know, um, for example, consider an application to process automobile insurance quotes. To price a quote, you need to know the driver's accident history, each accident record in a specific data type instance. Why are you holding it onto the accident records as an instance there? Unless, of course, you pulled it from the database. You'd want to have the driver's accident history stored in the database. So I'm assuming that you transferred all the information, into a data type instance. Sure. Um, you know, you can you can filter person's driver's accident history to give you a little bit more information, so you don't necessarily need to have each accident record. But I don't know. Well, we move on. You create a report to return the accident history for a driver and use a filter to return only accidents for the driver requesting the quote. Okay. If the report filter uses the username property from pyWorkPage, why would it want to use the username property from the pyWorkPage when you have multiple specific data type instances? Oh, it might be referencing the case type for it. Okay. Because, I mean, this is the current case for it, so, okay, man. Um, you must tell the report the pyWorkPage class, for example, quote, and the class allows Pega platform to reference the username property, and the report filter functions as intended. Again, this feels like you are, I don't know, maybe they're, it feels as though they are trying to keep all the data that they have like internal to Pega, which is not, um, you know, people use SQL for a reason. So, um, I don't know. This feels like it's kind of a bad example personally, but again, I'm not an expert. I don't have a lot of expert experience or anything along those lines, so um, it feels like they're trying to use Pega a lot when in fact you could just have a SQL to kind of filter out you know the um, you can just use a SQL query to kind of filter the results for you. So I don't know. Otherwise, Pega platform assumes that username is part of the data type rather than the case, and the filter does not work correctly. What's wrong with the part of the data type? Shouldn't the username be the same no matter what? Hmm. Um, I mean, if you are creating the quote yourself, then it's using your particular username. And if you are the customer, then shouldn't it be using the customer's username, which is part of the data type? Now, I can understand that if this is like, um, um, maybe you are, um, maybe you're CSR, right? And you're trying to create a report, right? You know, um, you create a report to return the accident history for the driver, which, I mean, technically, if the driver has the application, they should be able to create their own accident history in the application itself, or they should be, you should be able to build the application to have the driver be able to generate their own accident history. It's not that hard, or it shouldn't be that hard, okay, for them to generate their own report of their own accident history. You shouldn't necessarily need to have a CSR have to generate it for that particular customer. That seems off. So, and if if that's the case, then you'd want to have very specific names such as customer username or CSR work username to kind of be able to split the difference there. I feel as though this is kind of overusing pyWorkPage here. I mean, again, it's not necessarily wrong, but I don't feel as though this is um, uh, like the best practice, it feels. Again, I don't know. Okay. When an application runs a rule that references pyWorkPage, Pega platform resolves any rule references against the current instance of pyWorkPage. If class of pyWorkPage at runtime differs from the class listed on the rule, Pega platform resolves rule references differently, which may affect rule execution. See, that's the reason why it's like, be careful with using the pyWorkPage. So, I don't know. Why is it important to include class information when you reference properties in pyWorkPage? Without class information, the reference rules is designated as blocked. No, that's incorrect. Without class information, the default rule is used instead of the referenced rule. Um, I mean, kind of, yeah. Without class information, Pega platform may fail to resolve the reference of one or more of the properties. No. Without class information, an application cannot execute the rule when processing a case. No, it's the. Wait, what? Um, wait. If a rule contains one or more unresolved references, Pega platform cancels the save operation and informs you of the unresolved references. So that was the information there. But wait. Hmm. Right here. Otherwise, the Pega platform assumes that the user type is part of the data type rather than a case, and the filter does not work correctly. So it pulls information from the data type, then class. I mean, sure, if the rule contains one or more unresolved references, Pega platform cancels the save operation and informs you of unresolved references. Sure, but you know, doesn't it check the data type first? Mm. Okay, well, um, that's the correct answer. I guess this one is the better answer out of the two. Alright, well, we gotta move on there, folks. It's time for me to switch on over to um, um, switch on over to Unreal Engine. I've clearly shown that pyWorkPage has a lot of information packed in it, and if you're not careful, they will throw some curveballs at you. So, um, if you like the video, help me out with the YouTube algorithm. That would be fantastic. Especially if you're watching this later. Um, check out the description for other links, social media links that help me out directly, and my stream team. And yeah, stay tuned for the next topic. We're gonna be covering that tomorrow, and then the module quiz after that. But that's gonna be it for our Pega studying session. So thank you for joining me on that. Didn't have any chatters, but that's okay. Still welcome to lurk if you want to. So, but that's it. That's what we're gonna go and call this particular session. We are switching on over to Unreal in shortly here on stream. So, take care, everybody. See you next time.